All right, guys, welcome back. Today, we are going to be talking about a little bit of marathon news. Now, I'm saying news, but we're probably more on the side of speculation. But in my efforts to continually gather every little piece of potential information about marathon to keep everybody tapped in who's interested in the game, I thought it would be a good idea to put this information into a video. And before I jump too far into it, I would like to say that I got updated on all of this information through our community Discord. So if you want to stay up to date as much as you can about the upcoming marathon game and what Bungie has got hiding up their sleeve, then I do recommend joining us over on the Discord for those discussions and links incoming. We got a bunch of cool people who are always on the ball with that. So let me just briefly kind of describe the overview of what occurred here. First, we have this guy, Nate the Hate. He runs a YouTube channel and seems to post like podcast-style content. He's, I guess, a known leaker who's leaked certain things correct before, but the big thing is that on January 13th, he said that there was going to be the announcement for the Switch 2 on January 16th. Obviously, that came to be true, and so everybody kind of is giving him his flowers now for being correct about that leak that he made on his podcast, and it turned out to be accurate. So he appears to be a somewhat credible source in giving these information. And in response to that kind of whole Switch 2 situation, somebody had commented on Twitter asking him about the next Sony Showcase or State of Play, and he said that it was going to be in February. So this lines up with like a few things that the community has kind of been aware of. Late last year, we talked about, we had a leak saying that there was going to be a marathon pre-order bonus within Destiny attached to the next Destiny episode, which is called Heresy. Now, that episode is coming out on February 4th, and I believe the dungeon's on February 7th. So this kind of lines up with this early February timeframe where we might see additional information coming out from Bungie around Marathon, since there is this item potentially going to be within Destiny 2 tied to that pre-order situation with Marathon. Now, obviously, this isn't like a hard leak that he's doing here. I mean, his quote tweet with "How's February sound" is more so an offhand comment, but given the kind of streak that he seems to be on right now, correctly guessing the Switch 2, perhaps his insight into the situation is accurate. And there's a few elements that I think indicate that this might align that way, specifically revolving around Sony's primary competitors, Nintendo and Xbox. Nintendo obviously had the Switch 2 reveal, which he leaked early, and then Xbox has a direct or a showcase of some sort on January 23rd. So kind of have these two primary antagonistic forces in the market in terms of who Sony has to deal with, releasing pretty pivotal information in terms of what their offerings are going to be for the next kind of fiscal year. The relevance of that, obviously, is that, you know, if Xbox and Nintendo are getting loud about the types of products that they're going to have coming out, Sony normally would want to step in there and throw their kind of hat in the ring and show what they're going to be offering this year. So it would make sense if Sony was to put on some sort of event showcasing what they're going to have on display for 2025 coming up relatively soon in relation to these kind of big Nintendo and Xbox events that are surely going to disrupt some of the market share of gamers that Sony probably wants to swoop in and take a hold of before they get too wrapped up in whatever Zelda or Mario game or Gears of War thing we have going on the other side of the house. So the combination of Nate the Hate saying that February is a possible slot for this, and then also the Nintendo and Xbox events, makes it feel like a Sony Showcase or State of Play is right around the corner. Obviously, Marathon's initial reveal was at a Sony Showcase in May of 2023, so it aligns with kind of what we've seen before in terms of if we were to get a gameplay trailer or another trailer of some kind from Marathon, that would be a good venue for it to happen. And then, like I said, obviously you combine that with the leak around the Heresy episode, and also Joe Ziegler saying that he wants to, expand playtests coming into early 2025. it seems like February might be the Marathon community's time to shine, that we might finally get a look at some gameplay or some additional information, a price point, a release date, and maybe even a cool pre-order bonus that we can rock in Destiny 2 to show off our excitedness for the upcoming game. Now, a secondary piece to this news that's kind of in a separate lane is this job posting that was just posted on Bungie's careers page within the past week or two. And obviously, we've been seeing more job listings specifically related to Marathon over the past few months. I know we've seen kind of like a community position open up. Maybe there was like a marketplace, engineering position or something open up. And now we have this new listing for engineering architect game server orchestration, which, if you remember from the Vidoc, one of the key things that Bungie was hitting on when it came to the multiplayer experience was the kind of continuity of the servers and protection from cheaters. And I believe they referenced Fog of War in terms of creating a very stable PvP multiplayer platform to really carry the game, because obviously if you're playing a very high stakes PvP experience with other players, it's important that everything works correctly, that you eliminate the amount of cheaters who are going to be playing the game to hopefully none, and that the servers are very stable. There is nothing worse than being deep into a match of Hunt or Tarkov or any extraction shooter and getting pulled out for some sort of bullshit server error. Or being, one-tapped by some guy who's using cheats that most likely would have been caught if the company running the game had the resources of a Sony or a Bungie to put certain protections into their game. So, although this doesn't particularly align kind of with Nate the Hate saying this and some of the other competitors having big events, I do think that it is an indicator that if they're looking at hiring people specifically for server or orchestration, which seems to be a key point that they're trying to test with these beta tests to stress test servers before the launch of the game, and kind of expand it to more people to see what their capabilities are. That seems like a position that you would be looking for really as you come right up to the precipice of doing those activities, widening the kind of alpha beta testing and really stress testing servers prior to launch. So that, I think, is potentially another indicator that we are very close to getting something far more substantial than anything we've had so far. Obviously, like I've talked about before, we're kind of hanging out with breadcrumbs right now, trying to survive in terms of information that we have. So I think all of this combined is leading me personally to believe that February is going to be a very exciting time for the community. My current guess is that I do think that there's going to be some sort of Sony event, and I hope Marathon is there. I would be my expectation if I was a little more confident in my understanding of how game development worked and had a better idea of how to read some of these job postings and place it into a game development timeline that I'm just not aware of. Maybe I'd be more confident, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get something in February. Now, is that a release date? Is it a beta test? Is it a gameplay trailer at a showcase? I don't know. But I think we see something in February, and I do think that community-wide stress test, beta testing style stuff is very much so around the corner very soon. So hopefully this keeps everybody, up to date with the little bit of information we got. And I'm sure as we get closer to the game, the news kind of segments I do will be much more in depth and have a lot more fun stuff to talk about. But at least we have this here kind of as a record of what the community's knowledge and understanding was at the time, so we can look back once the game's here and see the weird, twisted journey that we took to get to this point. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Thank you to everybody in the Discord who was sharing this information, links to the articles, the tweets, and stuff like that, and having some fun discussions about what it could possibly mean. Like I said, if you guys are interested in keeping up to date with all things Marathon, I recommend joining the Discord. We have a really good group of people there who are, like I said, very tapped in. So, all right, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Love you. Bye.